All right, we're going to get started. So good evening, everyone. My name is Dr. Renato Lajara, and I am the very proud principal of Cheltenham High School. Welcome to our second annual virtual back to school night. I'm welcoming you from my living room. I never thought I'd still be saying this this late in the game. But the Delta variant had other plans. So here we are. Tonight's going to be very informative. We're going to have some introductions of our administrative staff. We have some new faces, and we're also going to go over some very important topics at the school, some safety topics. We have our administrators here, and we also have Ms. Kimball Dunlap, who's our school nurse. We have Ms. Marina Schreiner, who is our one of our teachers and is also a principal intern. And we have Mr. John Seaman, who is our new athletic director, who will be joining us tonight as well. As I said, my name is Dr. Lajara, and my administrative assistant, if you ever need to reach her, her name is Ms. Diana Jordan, and her email is here as well. There are going to be some active links in this presentation. And after tonight, we're going to be posting this on the website. So if there are any links that you feel are important to you and you think will be helpful, you'll be able to click on those links and be able to use them once we post this presentation on the website. I just want to let you all know that I'm very happy, and we're all very excited to welcome your students back, welcome our students back, back in person. It's definitely been a challenge bringing all students back, but it's been a great challenge and a happy one. It's been exciting to see their smiles, even though it's through a mask. Seeing them in activities again, in sports again, in clubs again. It's you know, my heart is full, and I know we've had some hiccups in the beginning, which were expected, but at the end of the day, I think we're going to have an amazing year. But so with your grace, patience, and flexibility, I think we're going to have a great year. So without further ado, our next slide will introduce our grade administrators, and I'll let them introduce themselves, the grades they service, and let them tell you a little bit about themselves so that you can put a face to the name.
Thank you, Dr. Lahar. Good evening, everyone. My name is Byron Ryan. I am the vice principal over 9th grade, formerly at Cedarbrook, so some of you may see a familiar face. It's been a pleasure during my transition. I've been in the Cheltenham School District now for approximately 3 years. It's been a great experience. I'm also a resident of the county and have children in district as well, so it is my pleasure to serve you and your children. You'll see my email there. Please feel free to contact me with any questions or concerns that you have. I look forward to supporting you and your efforts to provide your child a great education. Thank you, and we appreciate you making time to spend with us this evening.
Hello, everyone. I am Ben Hammond. I'm the administrator for the 10th grade. Just as both Mr. Ryan and Dr. Lahar mentioned, I am extremely excited to be back in the building with our scholars. It's been a long time. Even scholars that I've seen since they were freshmen, it's hard to recognize their faces. They've grown so much over these last 18 months. So it's extremely happy to be back, and we're willing to do whatever it takes to make sure that we stay this way, and we're doing the best of our abilities to keep everybody safe and have a great time at the same time. So I've been in the district now. I've been in the high school for about 16 years. I've been an administrator this is my 6th year as an administrator, and I was a math and computer science teacher for about 10 years. The funny thing about my time in the district is before those 10 years as being an educator, for a teacher in the classroom, I spent about 2 or 3 years as a computer tech and a hall aide in this district. So I mentioned that just to let you know that I love where I'm at. I love what I'm doing. And, I love serving all of you and making Cheltenham the best that we can make it. And I'll pass it on to Mr. Baker.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Christine Zubeiru. I am the vice principal for the 12th grade, and it's a distinct pleasure to be back in the building, seeing our scholars again. I have the coveted position of having known most of the scholars in the 12th grade since they were 5th graders. I've spent 10 years as an 8th grade teacher at Cedarbrook, 11 years at Elkins Park School as a vice principal there, and my last 5 years have been here at the high school. It is such a pleasure to watch our scholars grow from 10 years old to about 18. And so I'm so excited to watch graduation in the fall. And it's just been a pleasure working with the team that we have here at the high school. It's going to be a great year.
Thank you, Mr. Beirut. And as you can see, we have our 11th grade administrator is Ms. Lori Fraugois. She is on sabbatical for the first half of the year. So any questions about 11th grade, any support that you all need, you can either email myself or any of the other grade level administrators, and we would be happy to answer your questions or support you or your scholar in any way. And I saw this question in the chat, and the role of the reason why we have grade level administrators is so that we can, the relationship can be a little bit more intimate with your scholar and with the parents. So if you have a 9th grade student, for example, and you have a concern or something that you want a question that you have, you can contact Mr. Ryan, who's the 9th grade administrator, and he's responsible to deal with the 9th grade population. That doesn't mean that he can't deal with other students in the school, but they deal specifically with those grade items. So for example, Ms. Zubeiru is the 12th grade administrator. So she'll handle any questions about graduation, about prom, about college. If you have a question about college, she can refer you to the appropriate counselor for your student. So any of those things that have to do with the grade level, you can email your grade level administrator. If you have an issue with with a teacher, or you're having a hard time getting in contact with a teacher, if you have a question about a grade, you can contact your grade level administrator, and they will be more than happy to serve and to help you get questions to your answers and support you in any way they can. Now we have Miss Kimball Dunlap, who's our nurse.
Hi.
Go ahead.
Stepped
Take
on
it
you
away.
there.
Yep.
My name's Kimball Dunlap. I am the certified nurse at the high school. I'm also this year a new position. I am the nursing coordinator for the entire district. So I deal with parents in all different schools for many different reasons. So at the high school this year, we have 3 nurses because that gives me the ability to move to other buildings and help out if there's a problem. So Aisha Ray is in our building as the nurse, typically that's sitting in our entrance desk. And Hope Monahan, I have another office in the back that she's with me. So there's 3 nurses right now that you may hear from on whatever issue that may deal with nursing this year. So I just want to cover a little COVID-19. There we go. Oh, sorry, he skipped ahead. So the nursing office, please contact the nurse first. Our number's 215-513-3701. And you may say, well, what do I need to contact the nurse for? If you have a student that's sustained some sort of an injury, it's the nurse that communicates with the teachers and the counselors as to what accommodations doctors have requested. If you're wearing crutches, you can't be in the building with crutches without the nurse having your discharge papers and understanding what's wrong with you. This is a safety precaution. So if something happened to your child and you've had a doctor visit or an injury, we are aware of it, and it helps us assess you better. Also, medications that need to be taken during school hours, even over-the-counter medications, and I'm talking Tylenol, ibuprofen, cough drops, they have to have a doctor's order and be taken in the nurse's office. The kids can't carry medication with them because it's actually considered a drug under our district guidelines. Any hospitalizations your children may have, also please make the nurses aware, because once again, it helps us be able to assess your child if they came in for a different reason. The last thing is if your child has a chronic medical diagnosis, diabetes type 1, asthma, life-threatening food allergies, if we need to be aware of those things, even if your child is self-sufficient and has all their equipment or medical devices on them, in a case of emergency, we need to know what your child's diagnoses are. So anything like that, you need to make sure you contact the nurse first. It's very important. You can contact teachers and counselors and principals, but really contact the nurse first. Thank you. I'd like to do just a quick overview of COVID-19. Also, if your scholar is ill with any possible symptoms, please keep them home and notify the nurse. If your child has any kind of measurable fever, chills, fatigue, headache, sore throat, congestion, runny nose, anything like that, 2 of those, please keep them home and notify us. Because if your child comes to school with any of those complaints and comes to the nurse, we're going to send them home. We just can't, we have to be over cautious because the Delta variant has been so aggressive. And I've also had parents call me and tell me their scholar was told they weren't allowed to come to the nurse at all. That is not true. If your scholar tells you they are not allowed to come to the nurse, you can come to the nurse. We just are trying to limit the amount of people in our office because it's a very small office. So we try to stay 6 feet distance in there. Please notify your nurse if your scholar has been exposed to COVID-19 or has a diagnosis, a positive test for COVID-19. And please do that as soon as you're able, so we can do any contact tracing we may need to do and notify people of exposure and isolation and quarantine guidelines. And finally, please remind your scholars that they need to wear their mask throughout the day. And wearing a mask means it needs to cover your chin and your nose. Under your nose and under your chin is not the acceptable way to wear a mask, and it doesn't protect them and it doesn't protect the people they're talking to. They're allowed to take their masks off in the cafeteria, and there's no eating in the classroom. And one final thing, have your child bring a bottle that they can refill with water. I have more scholars that are dehydrated and they haven't drank all day because they don't have any kind of bottle. So please try to remind your scholar to bring some sort of bottle to fill at our filling stations for water. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Dunlap. I will say, parents, thank all of you because our scholars have been phenomenal with wearing their masks. There's always 1 or 2 that we have to address, but they, for the most part, every scholar has been phenomenal in wearing their mask and being compliant with that. And I credit that to each of you. And one of the next things we want to talk about is counseling. So right now, our 10th through 12th graders have access to Naviance. Naviance is our portal that we use for career and college materials for our scholars. It will be soonly updated for 9th grade as they're going to do their college survey or career survey to let them see different options that their interests could take them. Also, I want to remind all of you from the counseling office that we need to keep encouraging our scholars to take advantage of their academic supports. For example, the intervention period, make sure that they're getting the most out of it. They can meet with their teachers. They can get additional supports. Teachers will meet them we'll give them a pass to come to any class they want to get support if that teacher is available during that intervention period. And then soon when we start having our after school activities and homework club, please make sure we continue to encourage them to get involved and to take advantage of those times to keep their grade the best that it can be. And lastly, anytime a scholar needs to meet with their counselor, the best way of getting in touch is to send your counselor an email stating that they need to meet so that the counselor can send them back a time that they can come down to the office with a pass to meet with their counselor. I'm going to pause it on this for a minute just so you guys can see what this is, the breakdown of your scholar, your last name and which counselor your scholar will have.
It is also by grade, Dr. Hammond.
Yes, it's broken down by grade and last name. So you have your last name, your 9th grade in the first column, then 10th, then 11th, then 12th. Again, as Dr. Lahar stated earlier, these slides will be shared. They're actually already posted on our website. So you will have direct access to this. And you can always, if you are unsure, send an email to your grade level administrator and we'll make sure we update that. Go ahead, Mr. Seaman, you got it.
I was waiting for the introduction, but that's okay. So good evening, everybody. My name is John Seaman. I'm the new Director of Athletics and Activities for Cheltenham High School and Cheltenham Township School District. I'm excited to be here. I have a lengthy background in athletics, but I just wanted to let everybody know on this call that, part of my responsibilities is activities, and we do value our activities and our athletics. We look at them very proudly, and we're very proud of trying to get those things off the ground. Since last year and in the spring before that with COVID, trying to get everything off the ground and give our kids and our student athletes and our students and our scholars the best opportunities that we can give them, whether that's through athletics or through activities. You'll notice that Tiana Gaines is our new athletics and activities secretary there. So I know Dr. Hammond is kind of sliding the slide back there, and you'll see that shortly. But just know we do have a new director, a new secretary for the athletics and activities office, and then my email's there as well. Please feel free to reach out to either one of us at any point in time. And then when we talk about activities and managing the website, if you go on cheltenham.org and then you go right to our high school at Cheltenham High School, there is a section there for student life. So if you click on student life, you can kind of look at activities in the left section there. You'll see a spot that says activities, and these are basically all the activities that we offer. I've been getting to know our sponsors. I've been working very diligently to get as many things up and running, activities up and running as we possibly can. That includes the fall play, that includes the pep band, that includes the color guard, that includes the drawing, that includes the Sons of Pitch a cappella group that we have, and also our student councils and all the other activities. Have been meeting one-on-one with our sponsors to try to offer our kids, again, as many opportunities as we possibly can. But just please note that if you do go to the website, this is where you can find all that information. And if you do click on an activity, it will tell you directly who the sponsor is. If there is not a sponsor there, then please feel free to reach out to myself or our athletics secretary and our athletics and activity secretary, Tiana Gaines, and we can kind of lead you in that right direction. Very open-minded with activities, I'll be honest with you. I've had a couple students come in and ask us if we're doing a couple things that are not on that list. And if the student interest is there, we want to support their interests. We want to develop the whole child and be able to give them opportunities to grow, not just inside the classroom, but outside the classroom. So there's other things that might pop up there as we move on throughout the year. Athletically, I will tell you too, like across the board, I'm really looking at, putting in place a athletic handbook and an activities handbook. One thing I want to talk to everybody on this call is the importance of our students and our scholars and their academics. Sometimes that gets lost, not just in athletics, but in activities. And we just started checking grades, and it's very important that everybody on this call understands that we expect our kids to be in school, and we expect them to pass every class. That is the expectation. And we are going to do our best to hold our students and our scholars and our student athletes to that expectation. With that said, just know that the PIAA, Pennsylvania Interscholastic Athletic Association, which is the state governing body for athletics, which Cheltenham High School and Cheltenham and Cedarbrook Middle School is also members of, we have to uphold certain standards. One of those standards I'll talk about is attendance. If a child misses 20 days of school in one semester, which I do not see or foresee that happening, but if that does happen and they are a student athlete, and to be honest with you, I'm evaluating this process with activities as well, they would be ineligible for 40 until they attend school for 45 days. That's a big deal. So making sure our kids come to school is very important. The other part of that is just looking at grades and academics. You know, I just had a phone call today from East Stroudsburg University about putting a former student in the eligibility center for the NCAA eligibility center. We want our kids to get scholarships, even if that's through activities as well. And just knowing that, you know, the NCAA and their eligibility center, what you do as a freshman, as a sophomore, and a junior really matters. And that I think the GPA that has to be above about a 2.3, 2.4, I believe. And if that does not happen, then there will be no Division I, Division II scholarship offered at the next level, because the NCAA has certain guidelines that universities have to follow. So it's very important that when we say we expect our kids to pass in order to participate in athletics and even activities, there's a reason behind that, because we want to give our kids that opportunity to earn those scholarships. And if we don't hold that standard, then we're cheating our kids, to be honest with you. So it's very important that everybody on that call knows that. Something else I just kind of want to reiterate with the website is that we have a Big Teams app. It's a Big Teams website. You'll see that there. We expect our PIAA physicals, so which is mandated not just for our team sports under the PIAA guidelines, but also for unified sports. That has to be uploaded into the Big Teams website, which there are directions on this website right here on how to do that. It's a step-by-step guide. It's an easier way for our coaches to make sure that they have the information that we need in cases of emergency, and not just our coaches, but our athletic trainer as well. So the expectation is once they get that physical, is that parents are going into the Big Teams website under Cheltenham and going through that process to upload it, which, to be honest with you, has been phenomenal since I started here second week of August. Really haven't had too many issues with that. So I really appreciate all the parents who have done that already, but just kind of wanted to reiterate that. Anything on this website with athletics, we'll kind of be posting certain things as we move on, and activities as well. I'm going to throw it out there. I'm looking at different avenues to do different things. One of those things are paperless ticketing. In the event that we start doing that sometime this year, next year, we would have a link on this website where you could purchase tickets, and it would be more like, it's almost like StubHub for high school athletics. And it's just an easier way for us to track and make sure that, you know, it's that we're upholding certain standards, and it's more organized and making sure that we're doing the right things. But that would be for admission into athletic events, such like football contests and basketball contests. And when we talk about football, this is the last thing I'm going to say. We have homecoming this Friday. We hope to see everybody out there. We have $5 for parents. It's $5 for students. We're going to have a student tailgate from 6 to 7 that is sponsored by the student council. We're looking forward to somebody from the outside singing the national anthem. We're going to have our alumni present, and we're also going to obviously have our pep band, our drum line, our color guard, our cheerleaders, and we just want to invite everybody out Friday. And we look forward to taking on William Tennant and having a great time Friday night. So I hope to meet some people on Friday, and I hope to see you there. So thank you, and have a great night.
Thank you, Mr. Seaman. So one thing that is new with our schedule this year is something that is called an intervention period. We really wanted to mention this with the parents because this is not a free period, even if that is what your scholars may tell you. This is a time where all scholars are reporting to a room, and they're able to meet with their teachers to get either support or some enrichment in classes that they have. They can reach out to their teachers in advance get a pass, and then the teacher where they're assigned will send them to the teacher that wrote them the pass to get the support. You can kind of think of it like office hours as we had during the virtual learning environment. But it is an opportunity where all teachers are available if they're not in their content area meetings, and they can all provide support for our scholars during that time in all of our classes. So it is a built-in support for every student, and I just want to emphasize that it is not a free period. Leaving school early. If your scholar is sick, they need to go to the nurse's office. One thing that we have seen and we frequently see it is that a scholar will immediately call their parent and let them know that they're not feeling well, and then the parent will come and pick them up. If that happens, that is considered an unexcused absence, and that will be treated as such with in terms of all of their classes. But if they go to the nurse's office with the symptoms and the nurse deems that they should go home, that is an excused absence. So it's only for your benefit and your scholar's benefit to go to the nurse's office and make sure they check in with the nurse so that they can be seen and treated. And also, when you have unexcused absences, you don't get the same ability to make up all of your missed work as you would if you have an excused absence. So we really want to make sure that we are seeing our nurse and we are getting our unexcused absences excused. You'll hear a little bit more about that next. If your scholar is leaving early, if you already, it's a planned early dismissal, you should either already have emailed the attendance desk at chsattendance@cheltenham.org. You'll see that on the slide later. Or you can send a note with your scholar so that they can go to the attendance office in the morning and present that note to get a pass to leave class at that designated time. And then you can meet them when they come out of the building. However, there will be emergency reasons where a parent needs to come unexpectedly to pick up their child. If that's the case, then you'll come into the building through the main entrance, which is the main student parking lot, that main big parking lot. And you will have to go to the attendance desk and sign out your child. That's when you'll have to come in, because that's the only contact that that the attendance desk will have.
So, Mr. Ryan?
Yes, sir. So as Dr. Hammond mentioned earlier regarding attendance, you'll see here posted is the email where we expect notes for attendance issues to be mailed. One major point that needs to be remembered is that if your scholar is absent, you have 3 days from the absence date to submit a note. If the note is not submitted during that time frame, it will not be accepted, so that we cannot correct the attendance. So make sure that you, when your scholar returns to school or prior to, you can just email and make sure that you send that notification in to us. Thank you, sir. All absences will go in as unexcused until the note is received. So as I said, we've made it very simple. Via email, you can send a notice in if you expect an absence, or we just hope that you'll do so that you don't miss out on that, so that records stay accurate. After 10 days of parent notes for absences and late, you're only allowed 10 days of parent notes for absences. After that, doctor's notes will be required. So please just make note of this so that you can remain compliant with these procedures. Here is the contact information. Our attendance office is, well, thank you, Dr. Hammond. I'll start here with truancy. After 3 days of unexcused absences, a warning letter will be sent home. After 6 days, you'll have 6 days of unexcused absences, the scholar is considered habitually truant. So please make note that if that happens, we will involve other entities such as a social worker following up with a meeting and potential court proceedings to address the truancy. And please, as a follow-up, just make sure that you read the CHS student handbook with regards to truancy and truancy laws. And lastly, just some of our contact information. If you have questions or problems, you can contact the office by emailing Ms. Patsy Jarvis at chsattendance@cheltenham.org. And you can also contact Ms. Geigert at jgeigert@cheltenham.org.
Next piece of our presentation will be about Safe to Say Something. Safe to Say is an initiative that was created by the Attorney General's Office for the state of Pennsylvania. It's an anonymous tip line, so if you or a scholar or anyone has any information about a scholar being in an unsafe situation, they can make an anonymous tip. The only thing about submitting a tip is that you must associate yourself with a school. So if you have a high school student that you'd like to submit a tip about, you can submit a tip through the app Safe to Say Something, through the website safetosaypa.org, or through the hotline 1-844-SAFE-TO-SAY. It goes through multiple people in the state and here at the district, and then it comes to the school principal team, and then we act on it. And that's how it is. Mental health and wellness, self-harm, any kind of abuse, mental or physical, can be reported to Safe to Say Something. It's just another layer of protecting our scholars. And the next piece is about access to PowerSchool and Canvas. I know there was a question in the Q&A section about Canvas. Remember, all of these links are live, which means that you'll be able to click on them and get parent training for Canvas and any of that information. PowerSchool will allow you to access grades and attendance. And parents, you have to create your own username and your own password and contact your grade level administrative assistant or grade level principal to help you obtain the information that you need if you don't already have it. And you always want to make sure that your demographics and contact information is accurate. When you go into PowerSchool, you'll be able to see what phone number you have, those kinds of things. Lots of times those phone numbers change, and so you just need to make sure that they're updated. At the bottom of every school district, and this is Cheltenham, there is a way to do it through Update My Info. So I think you can go just directly to cheltenham.org/update-my-info and update things in PowerSchool. So you want to make sure that you do that at all times. PowerSchool is probably best used by just asking your scholar to log on, and then you can look at it together. And your scholar can share with you, why they have, what grades they have, or what assignments they have upcoming. That's my recommendation for using PowerSchool. Canvas, there's a parent training tutorial that I think is really valuable. So you may want to click on to this presentation and go on to the parent training tutorial. And Chromebooks. So Cheltenham High School is a one-to-one Chromebook school, so every scholar has a Chromebook. If there is an issue with a Chromebook, we have opportunities for scholars during intervention to come and handle any Chromebook issue with Mr. Cook in the library. So they just have to be able to ask their intervention teacher for a pass to go to the library, and they'll be able to go speak to Mr. Cook and get problems handled with their Chromebooks. If a scholar would like some assistance with using the Chromebook, we have assistance in the presentation linked to our Office of Intervention to help use the Chromebook more efficiently.
Ms. Dunlap, did you want to add something?
Yeah, I don't know if my picture's up. I just want to address COVID, isolation, quarantine, and attendance. If your child is sent home from school, to get a test, that's excused. Sorry. If your child is told to isolate or quarantine either by the district or by the Office of Public Health, those are excused absences. Sometimes it may take a few days for Patsy and I, who is who's in charge of attendance, to get everything coded right. But in the end, any of those dates will be excused. So dates that we send your children home to be tested, isolation or quarantine days off that they miss school are excused. Thank you.
Thank you. And that brings us to the main part of back to school night. Back to school night really isn't for you to sit down and listen to us talk. It's for you to make a connection with the teacher of your scholar and to kind of learn about the class that your scholar is enrolled. So at this time, I'm about to turn it to the next slide, which is going to tell you the website on our actual Cheltenham webpage, so that you can go there and have your scholar schedule in hand, and at your leisure, you can select the different courses that your scholar is enrolled to learn about that class and to see that teacher. There's also the teacher's emails, so that if you do have a specific question, you can send them an email if something was unclear or you just wanted some extra clarification on something that they stated. So if you are going to the web page, you go to the Cheltenham High School's page. To go to the home page, click that Our Schools, and then it will let you click Cheltenham High School. You'll select academics, and then on the left, you'll see Btsn, Back to School Night 2021-2022. Once you select that, you will see the list by departments of all of your teachers. So if it's an English class, you'll look at the English department. And everything will be listed there for you and your scholars. If you want to just go to the web page itself, it is cheltenham.org/CHSBTSN. And that will take you also directly to the web page that hosts all of our teachers' presentations. Again, if you have any questions or if there's an issue with the link, immediately email that teacher and they will respond and let you know everything that you need to know. So thank you for taking the time to be with us tonight. I look forward to this year. I look forward to meeting you in one of our in-person events coming up. One of the reasons besides the Delta variant that we did this virtually is it was actually a really good event last year, and it allows all of you to view your teachers' schedules and take your time listening to them and not get a rushed presentation. And it also allows parents of multiple scholars to have the time to see all of the teachers and not just pick a schedule and just get those scholars. So we do hope that this was beneficial for you. Every administrator on here is available for you for support. If you have questions, don't hesitate to reach out. And with that, I'll pass it back to Dr. Lahar to send us home.
Thank you, Dr. Hammond. As Dr. Hammond said, thank you all so much for taking the time out tonight to come and listen to us speak. I want to tell you again that your scholars are our #1 priority. Their safety, their education, and their school life is our #1 priority. And we live to serve you. So as I always say, if you didn't hear it today because you were too busy, and if nobody told you, I love you and your children very much. Have an amazing night. Hope you enjoy the presentations, and hope to see you all at homecoming on Friday. Go Panthers. Have a great night.